Welcome to Review Every Vehicle by CitizenCon 2024. The point is to give an update on every vehicle and ship, since some haven't had a video made about them in years, and others, the information is simply too spread out to be helpful in making decisions. Remember, digital vehicles aren't imaginary. Digital vehicles are imagine necessary. Every month we do a giveaway to give back to this wonderful community. This month's giveaway prize is going to be either an Anvil Terrapin, or if we hit 6,500 human subscribers before CitizenCon, I will give away an Anvil Carrot. So make sure you share the channel and tell your org mates to come and check us out. To enter the contest, make sure you subscribe to Billionaire Ninjas, leave a comment on at least one video, and like or dislike at least one video. Winners have 2 weeks to claim their prize. Members collectively have a 25% chance of winning just for being members. So if you're subscribed, consider hitting that join button. And if you're not subscribed, I appreciate you hitting that subscribe button. For the full giveaway details, make sure you visit our Billionaire Ninjas Discord or our social media at Ninjas Leap. Today, we continue our trip through the RSI manufacturer, and the next vehicles are the RSI URSA and its two variants. We have the URSA base, $50 standalone, $50 war bond, $50 at concept. Cost in game is $126,000. The Medevac, $60 standalone, $55 war bond was $55 at concept. Cost in game is $137,000. The Lynx, $60 standalone, $55 war bond was $55 at concept. Cost in game is $136,000. All the URSA series is time limited for real world purchase except for the base URSA, which is always available. These vehicles are not available to rent in game. However, the URSA comes standard with the purchase of the Constellation Aquila and the purchase of the Carrack. The Lynx comes standard with the purchase of the Constellation Phoenix. Let me start by saying I'm not the biggest fan of purchasing vehicles outside the game, with only a few exceptions. So almost always I'm going to suggest buying these in game because they are so cheap. But I'm guessing in the future that will change, and I want these videos to still serve a purpose for people who don't think the same as I do. So I'll rate this as though they do have value as far as spending money. Built by RSI specifically for the PlanetSide Explorer, the URSA rover offers civilians military-grade, all-terrain capabilities, and stands as the rugged standard in ground-based scouting, mapping, and discovery applications. A frontline medical support vehicle built to endure the harshest environments, a beacon of hope bringing you back into action with its state-of-the-art Tier 3 medical bed, an indispensable asset for any team facing unpredictable challenges, the URSA Medevac. Tour the wildest corners of the verse in safety, comfort, and style in the Lynx rover from RSI. It's a jungle out there, but with the Lynx, you'll have the comforts of home wherever you roam. The RSI URSA, URSA Medevac, and RSI Lynx. For measurements, the URSA are all about the same. Length 8 meters, beam 5.7 meters, height of 3.5. If I rank vehicles from small to medium to large to extra large, I would consider this a large vehicle. For crew, the URSA series all have the same minimum crew, which is 1 and maximum crew of 3. However, that doesn't quite make sense for any of these. The URSA can seat 6 unless it has 2 SCU loaded, and then it can only seat 2. The Medevac can seat 4 if you include the medical bed, but if you don't include the medical bed, then it can seat 3. And the Lynx can seat 4 pretty much all the time. My guess is people who are along for the ride are not considered in the crew count, and only people who can have a dedicated role are counted, but then that still doesn't make sense for the Lynx. So we'll just say that the URSA has a max crew of 6, the Medevac has a max crew of 4, and the Lynx has a max crew of 4. The Lynx and the Medevac carry 0 SCU and have 2,460 micro SCU of stowage. The URSA carries 2 SCU and has the same amount of stowage. The claim time for these is all 2.5 minutes. Expedited claim time is less than a minute, and the fee for expediting the claim is 1,100. For top SCM speed, the Medevac and the URSA are 29 meters per second, and the Lynx is just a touch faster at 30. For weapons, the Medevac and the URSA come stock with one size 1 co-pilot controlled Bulldog laser repeater turret and no missiles. The Lynx come stock with one size 1 co-pilot controlled M3A laser cannon turret and no missiles. For hull HP, the base has 25,000, the medevac has 27,000, and the Lynx has 23,000. For shields, the URSA series all come stock with one pin civilian grade C bubble type shield with 750 total HP and recovering 126 HP per second. For vehicle parts, the URSA all have the same size parts. They have one extra small radar, one extra small computer, one extra small power plant, one extra small cooler, one extra small shield generator, and one extra small fuel tank. Some special features and amenities for these vehicles. The medevac has a tier 3 medbed that people can respawn from. The URSA has the ability to carry either 6 people and no cargo or 2 people and 2 SCU of cargo. The Lynx has luxury seats with touchscreens and refrigerator for refreshments. All 3 have weapons racks that hold 2 weapons, but the base URSA can hold 4 weapons. My preferred loadout is to keep the stock loadout on each of these, except for the gun, which should be the same on each. Swap it out for scatterguns and thank me later. A quick shout out to my members, my First Ninjas, Star Touch, Rob, my Hokage, Old Weeb, my Joni Ninjas, Radium TX, Paling Tan, The Solid Exodus, Damon Danielson, Dark Wolf God, ETL and Spade, Sean Phillips, and Rage 1. Then my Chunin Ninjas, Raygun 972, Walk on Your Side, Scorpio King 3, Soul Galaxia, Meat Salad, Praetorian, J Solus, Waterfox Studios, Sand Chimera, Rotten Treats, BMC, and Bears Junkie. Of course, thank you to all my other members from every level who are all listed at the end of the video. As always, membership is never required, but always appreciated. You help make this YouTube dream even more possible, so thank all of you. And also, a special thanks to all of my new gifted subscribers from the last stream. So, I will have to actually start speeding these up because I am getting so many members, which is a great problem to have, but I'll start having to speed these up at like, I don't know, plus 25% or plus 50% speed because I just have so many members that it's hard to even call all of you out at the same time. So, I'll probably do that for all of my tuning and below folks, just because that's where I got the most memberships at, so I'll have to speed these up just to make sure that I get all of your names in the videos. Now it's time to rate these vehicles. A rating I rate from 1 to 10. My 1 is only buy if you have a unique reason that is specific to you or because you like the looks of the vehicles. My 10 is if you have the money, these vehicles are almost guaranteed to be useful to you in the game. A 1 doesn't mean the vehicles are useless or ugly, and a 10 doesn't mean that the vehicles are perfect. Just remember, these are just our ratings. Please give us yours in the comments below. And we're almost done, folks. I can see the light at the end of the tunnel. Just stay with me as I do a lot of vehicles. My rating for this vehicle is of course going to be handed out based on which variant we're looking at. The base URSA is a 7. The medevac is a 8. And the Lynx is a 6. Let's start with what I like about these vehicles. Well, they are all amazing in their own way, but it's mainly because of their utility or uniqueness. The Lynx, its uniqueness. It is the only VIP transport vehicle in the entire game, so it gets points for being the only one that does what it does. Kind of like the Mantis being the only ship with a quantum snare. But the gameplay isn't in-game yet, so it's mostly just for driving around with your friends. But it is really fun to be able to see out the window. Which can't be said for the URSA, but you know what's more fun than staring out a window? Bringing 2 extra friends along, or even better, 2 SCU along. But you know what's even more fun than that? Turning every ship that can fit an URSA into a ship with a medical bed. The URSA series is great. They have great guns, they have shields, they have great utility, they have multi-purpose use, they can fit in enough vehicles to not be useless, and they are all cheap, both outside the game and inside the game. Well, depends on your definition of cheap, I suppose. The issues with these though, and how I would fix them. Well, let's start with the base URSA. I don't know why I can't saddlebag the cargo instead of put it inside. And even if we couldn't do that, why can't we saddlebag 1/8 SCU cargo outside the vehicle? Also, can we upsize our weapon to a size 2 if we drop the turret and turn it into a single gun on a gimbal? For the Lynx, well, its gameplay isn't in yet, but either way, just lounging in the back isn't very fun. And even though the TVs might give it some entertainment, I can't help but ask, Why are the seats not able to swivel to face the outside so the passengers can watch through the window? Also, the no saddlebag thing really hits home here, because where are the passengers supposed to put their luggage? I know a lot of people hate on the Lynx because they don't see the utility, but it is the only VIP vehicle in the game, and if you're interested in luxury transportation, this is the closest you'll get to a limo at the pickup and drop-off point. They have to get to the spaceport somehow, and this is the only option. But they will also most likely have luggage and nowhere to put it. Sure, there is internal stowage, but that is not going to be enough for everyone. Heck, give the driver control over those weapons and replace the co-pilot with cargo space if you have to. The medevac is almost perfect. Almost. The biggest problem with the medevac is the fact that it exists, because there is no reason it should need to exist. Half the ships big enough to fit the medevac inside of the ship could have fit a medical bay inside of the ship instead. But I get it, not every ship makes sense to have a medical bay. I'll give you the Freelancer Max, the Valkyrie, the Corsair, heck, I'll give you the Connies. But the 600i, the Hercules, the Mercury, the Hammerhead, nope, can't give you those. Those should all have a med bed. But I'll give you a break on the 600i since you've already figured that one out and it's coming, but it needs to actually come for me to give you more of that credit. However, I won't use that as a reason to take a point off, because there is information the developers have that I don't. But the other reason is the existence of the C8R, flying ship with almost the exact same use case, except it can get shot down by anti-air. But if that's not a concern, I'm primarily better off bringing that if I have a Hercules. The URSA is a great vehicle. It's in my top 5 for best vehicles in the game. However, it's severely limited because it simply doesn't fit into enough ships. That is why we need the G12 to be shrunk down, folks, or else I just don't get it. The URSA is great for me, a person who primarily has anywhere from large to super mega gigantic ships, but a lot of people just have a Zeus, man. And not being able to fit one of these in their ship when it's only off by a few inches is a massive bummer. But I can't take off too many points for that, because after all, CIG stated that ships are purpose-built, and sometimes that purpose does not require a vehicle the size of the URSA. So that forces people to choose between choosing a vehicle-carrying ship or a non-vehicle carrying ship. I can't really be mad at that being a choice given to the players, because it makes sense in real life. If you need to transport an ATV in real life, you get a truck, not a Ford Focus. But the truck will likely be terrible on gas and the Ford will have great gas mileage. It's give and take. The Lynx is just not very utilitarian, but as a person who wants everything to be utilitarian or have utility, I can still see the value in this, even though it could have a little more, with the ability to carry like 1/8 SCU containers. It's not the first vehicle anyone should buy unless they are specifically focused on VIP gameplay, and believe it or not, there are some folks out there where that is their primary gameplay loop. Just like there are some weirdos out there that have science as their major gameplay loop. It's me. I'm weirdo. But since we're being weird, can I get a science vehicle with the Lynx as the base CIG? Replace that gun with a scanner in the fridge area with computers, and then give me a science workstation in the back? I'm just saying, field science is, well, you know. Let me stop. Hey, doesn't hurt to ask though, right? Then there is the beloved URSA medevac, the NURSA. To be completely honest with you, the reasons I gave were me pulling from thin air because I so wanted this vehicle to be a 10. Then I remembered, the one thing that bothers me about the base URSA is the same thing that bothers me about the medevac. It just doesn't fit in enough ships to get that 10. But then I was like, the C1, the Cutlass, the 400i, and the Zeus, if it just fit in 2 of those, it would have at least got that 10, but I can't even give it the nudge to the 9, because for $10 more than the base URSA, I'm getting the medevac, instead of paying an extra 5 to get a whole ship with a quantum and jump drive. And that's what really pushes it down to 8. It's the lack of being able to fit in certain vehicles and the price not being closer to what the URSA is. It should have been $50, and then I wouldn't have to have this conversation with myself. So who are these vehicles for? Well, the URSA and medevac are for pretty much anyone who can fit one on board their ship. You'll find utility for both no matter who you are or what your plans are for Star Citizen. The Lynx is for people who either A, are interested primarily in VIP gameplay, B, just want a good ship to cruise around in with friends, and C, for people who got it for free because they have a Phoenix. I imagine using the URSA rover for pretty much every vehicle thing I need to do in the game in ships that already have a medical bed. The URSA medevac will be the same, except it will only be in ships that don't have a med bed, with one exception for both. If I'm in a galaxy with a medical module, I would still take the URSA medevac to ferry people to the galaxy, to stabilize. The Lynx I would only take in my 600i, and that would be for player VIPs that don't care much about amenities as much, or for when I'm cruising around with friends. I know you're here for our rating, but if you really want a vehicle, go buy it. We won't stop you. Or even better, all vehicles can be earned in-game once the game releases, and some you can purchase in-game right now. These are just our ratings, but when you spend, it's your money. My opinion, the medevac should be in almost every fleet, unless your entire fleet has med beds or your fleet is not big enough to carry it. The URSA should be in every fleet, unless you already have a mule or your fleet is not big enough to carry it, then you can get a Cyclone. The Lynx should, it should definitely exist. I'm on a record saying that there are 3 vehicles I think are worth buying with real money. The NURSA is one of those, the Rock is the other, and the third, well, you know what the third is. I've said it before. If not, you'll find out soon enough. But the point is, I stand by that statement. I know we all live in a world where cheap in-game means it's not worth the money outside the game. And for the most part, that's the correct rule to go by. But you know what they say about rules. They are meant to be broken. Well, at least sometimes. The NURSA is one for the fleet, folks. But hey, if you want to follow the rules, that's okay too. All right, that is it for this one. Shout out to the members. Thanks for spending your time with us. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.